Hey everybody, this is Carl back again for another spoiler review. I Season one of She-Hulk just wrapped up, and I want to give my overall thoughts of the season. And please leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of season one, any like pros and cons of it all. And just a quick thing: don't forget to hit that like button and notification bell. Helps me out uh, immensely. Uh, yeah. After Black Panther 2, or when is Black Panther 2 or Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special? When is that coming out? Um I guess the releasing is TBD for now. Well, it's supposed to be December this year. So I say after I mean, I'm not a huge Guardians guy. Like everybody loved the Guardians, and you know, I think they're solid, and I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't be put into the same camp as like, oh, I gotta see Guardians. Like I'll see it, but I'm not like as enthused as I am for like Black Panther 2 or Doctor Strange 2 or things of that ilk, or even Loki. But yeah. After that, I want to get pull up my YouTube tier list of the MCU that I did on the YouTube channel, which you can check out on my YouTube channel as well. I did like at least a few YouTube tier lists, that being one of my favorites. And after each phase, I want to go back to it and then rank all the stuff that I've seen from that phase and apply it, uh, the rest, the newest batch to the rest. So that way I won't lose my place. That way I can just pull it right back up and start applying. Anywho, um, uh, this I enjoyed She-Hulk. Um, my main issue, I think it rings true to a lot of people that it felt hit and miss. Overall, it's good, but I mean, some people complain about how Loki ended with at least at the tail end. I still enjoyed it. I think Loki and Hawkeye are like the most solid uh, uh, MCU TV shows that like is like upper echelon of like quality, mainly because you know uh, they remain consistent with the storyline. Now I get it. This is supposed to be like play like a slice of life TV sitcom, but I want to say we were sold a bill of goods, but we expected a through and through lawyer show, and the main spot we're supposed to be like viewing is She-Hulk in courtroom dealing with various different uh characters, suing another characters and blah blah blah, and we got like a portion of that, but that's where like a lot of people thought Daredevil fell flat. To Even though Daredevil is another upper echelon TV show, but you know we wanted to see Matt Murdock in the courtroom doing his thing, and uh, I think it's even less in that compared to She-Hulk. But you know, it's just uh, you know it's supposed to be like a lawyer drama, or not drama, but a lawyer comedy show, and that's where we wanted to see the bulk of the stuff. Uh, and there was a few episodes. Well, there's good stuff in each episode, but like I'm not I wasn't too enthralled with like for example, her best friends, her work colleagues, they're cool. And matter of fact, the guy, one of her guy friends, is was the bad guy in uh like what season 3, 4 of Green Arrow TV show. So it was crazy to see him like and because as soon as he popped up, it's like something in the back of my mind is like I've seen this dude before. Like his face, it's like I know I've seen him before, and I just can't peg it down until I saw other people's reviews of that particular episode when he was introduced. And everybody pointed out, oh, he's from Green Arrow. I was like, oh, yes, that was it. Because he was a great villain in that one. Uh, but uh, him and uh, I forgot the other lady's name, her other best friend, they're great. But, like, there was this episode when they was trying to, find, like, this guy that was pretty much a glorified Edward, Edna Mose from Incredibles, who does all these tailoring for superheroes. Which, by the way, he's done for Matt Murdock for his Daredevil costume, the yellow and red, which most people are not. Not everybody, but there's a few fringe people that are not too. Uh, uh, I guess like nice to see it, but it's like it's kind of like in Scarlet Witch or like the WandaVision TV show, in the Halloween episode when you actually see the comic book accurate costumes that's played for as a a Halloween costume, and it's like there you get to see it in live action, and you can see how I would say dumb, but like how it doesn't transfer well to live screen from the comic book pages. Even in the comic books in recent years, or at least a handful of years, they definitely made some alterations to make the costume modernized. Because stuff from like the 60s and uh, 70s and even the early 80s, the comic book costumes seems like light fabric uh, and stuff like functional things. Because I think there's very few characters that can make that light fabric kind of stuff that works and looks good in live action. I think Spider-Man is like the main Spider-Man, and Deadpool is probably like the main ones I can think of right now that can actually make that fabric stuff work but still seem feasible as far as like a function. uh but yeah, I mean, I I wasn't already like I know of the yellow and red or yellow and gold. I mean, gold and red or yellow and red costumes. I seen and read a couple of comics with that involved because during that period, Daredevil was in L.A. or maybe not San Francisco like in the show, but L.A. in general. When he moved from New York for a stint, uh, I didn't find it appealing in the comics. It's a nice little, uh, a unique design, and it is like a significant part of his history. But the just the red is just all we need. Honestly, red and black or just all red is perfectly fine. It's one of those things that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's just like that yellow and red combo is just something about it just never clicked for me. I don't hate it, but it's just like I'm glad we saw it. Now we don't have to mess with it anymore. Leave it be. But anyway, uh, not many people enjoyed. Well, at least like a few people didn't enjoy the pilot like that. But I dug the pilot. Introduction of uh, Tatiana Maslany, who I guess is from Orphan Black, a show I'd never seen before. But I thoroughly enjoyed her performance as She-Hulk. She is like phenomenal. She is adorable, great actress. I loved her performance in this. You know, playing to the fourth wall breaks. Most people feel like it wasn't consistent, but I like the amount that we got, because I personally feel that she should not. I mean, she's one of the few characters that does fourth wall breaks in comic books, but she shouldn't be doing it on the level of Deadpool. What I mean by that is Deadpool should be constantly breaking the fourth wall. He should be consistent all the way through. She-Hulk should be every once in a while doing it, because otherwise, if you have somebody doing like a Deadpool thing, it makes what Deadpool does superfluous, and it makes him kind of meaningless and less funny. That's that became his thing, and it's like as Shiko can do it, but I do not want her to be like, you know, constantly doing it. If you don't catch my drift. But in the pilot, and she gains like the blood transfusion thing after a car accident from a spaceship that's like attacking her and Bruce Banner's car as they're driving on the road, and just like in the comics, he had a blood transfusion from her cousin, kind of like a life or death situation. I think in the comics he got shot, so that was the reason for the blood transfusion there. But here is a car accident. But it's like a fun moment where like she stumbles into a nearby bar, and some schmucks would just won't take no for an answer and start like bugging her for a good time, and then she hulks out, and then like Bruce is coming out of nowhere and just tackles her on the ground. It was like a nice little transition. It's like she was about to rip those dudes in half. It was so funny. I don't know why I thought that was funny, but it's just really funny cut moment. I also love in a pilot where this testing thing he does with her, like putting her in like a almost like a death trap level thing just to test you know her transformation and learn how to do it at will and blah blah blah, and then come to realize she doesn't have an alternate personality like he had when he started out. She's just all her, which goes to show, as I mentioned to many people, each whole type character is all different. They don't uh, have like DID in a way. Uh, so he's trying to uh, instill in her that now you got these powers, your ordinary life is out the window. You have to readjust, and you're probably going to be a superhero, which she's resistant on, but he's trying to tell her it's not really your choice anymore. And then, oh my god, the pilot is really good. I think the pilot and the last two episodes of the show is probably my favorite. Oh no, there's one with like Wong suing this other magician. Those are probably like my four favorite episodes of that entire uh, season. But I dug the uh, her laying it out, because this kind of this kind of rings true to a lot of women, because I imagine a lot of women really dug this show, and I overall really dug this show too. But I love this dialogue from Jennifer telling Bruce that I'm a woman. I have to control my emotions every day. Because you don't want to be labeled as like a bitch or this or that. Because that's how like the society will view you if you know if you can't, because women can't just express the same way as a guy would express in society without being looked at negatively. And I like, I like that bit of dialogue. uh I also thought it's still freaking funny because it's something I probably do with my cousins, where she's trying to sleep and he blows his air horn in her ear. So he's this for it's for a test, but also for comedic purposes. And it's like I I would that was just like this. You can tell like their relationship, the actors' relationship is pretty solid, where they can just do that and feel so natural because I can imagine myself doing that with my cousins because we had that kind of like rapport, and it's like I'm kind of like the goofy one, but it's like I would mess with them like that, uh, and they would get irritated by that. And it's so funny. Uh, I like introduction with Emil Blonsky getting paroled, asked for Jen's help, even though it's conflict of interest at first because if you remember from the Incredible Hulk, which they reference, and a funny little inside joke, Bruce has about like, oh, I was an entirely different person back then. That joke, but Emil's, which I kind of expected the other shoe to drop because I thought it was like a Mysterio kind of level of a con. He's conning y'all because like he's the freaking bad guy. He's the Abomination, but all through the season, we see him like 3 times throughout this entire season, and it's like, guess it wasn't an act. He's actually like, technically reformed. And he has this kind of like, it is kind of like a play on like, you know, what's that guy that died like a year or so ago with a swastika on his forehead. I forgot his doggone name, but he had this like cult following back in the 70s and kills, have other people kill for him. I forgot his doggone name, but the way Emil has these flower girls, which by the way never shown up again, but he got these flower child girls fawning over him, and then help him with finances with which to start like a retreat slash farm where he also breeds chickens, I guess. And it's like, oh my god, this is a total lie. And it's like you got like y'all so blind to this, but like I said, it's not a con. He's it's legit, and he got paroled thanks to the help of Wong, who from Shang-Chi. It was just like a funny moment how like he had to dip out of there before the you know the officials who's pulling down the ruling was going to ask him like, okay, we got to address the fact that you broke a person out of federal prison, and it's like, oh, I gotta go, and sling ring, and dipped out of there. Uh, the whole, not many ladies. I mean, I don't know, like, from all the reviews that I've seen with women involved who point out the episodes when she was, going through like dating apps and stuff like that, and uh, I actually agree with a lot of them because, like, I don't think just because it's like yeah, sure, females probably often do it, especially if you're in like having a successful career and you know don't have time to like go out like that much, and but still want to find somebody. Yeah, sure, using dating apps to try to find like a solid guy, and then she hooks up with one who's only interested in the She-Hulk part and not the entire Jennifer Walters part. And dude just dipped out of there and he was completely smug. But I don't think it was necessary. I mean, like, in the end, she starts hooking up with Matt Murdock, which is fine, but I kind of prefer it just be like a hookup. I don't, because both characters has a history of just like long stretches of one night stands, but I think currently in the comics, Jennifer Walters is having like a thing with this character named Jack, who's like who was like for a short stint part of the Avengers. He has this whole card playing Jack of Hearts. That's what his name, Jack of Hearts. And currently right now they're having like a thing in the new She-Hulk run, uh, which is fine, I guess. But Daredevil, you know, when it comes right down to it, only Elektra seems like his like ideal. It's, Elektra's kind of like Talia al Ghul in a way, even though she has some like qualities that somebody like Matt Murdock wouldn't approve of. Ultimately, they're meant to be, because she's still technically a good person, but she's trying to get away from the anti-hero that kills people to just straight up hero. But Matt has like a history of like flings, so I don't see them having like some kind of like spark in a relationship, especially in the end meeting up with her family, and it's like, yeah, this is not gonna last, obviously, given that we're gonna have like a Daredevil show again, and Elektra's gonna be coming back, and it's like, you know, you don't. Let's say they're just friends with benefits, or just having like a fling. You don't bring that, to meet the family, because like that part seemed like a little out of place. But overall, beyond that, I don't think She-Hulk needed to have some kind of big love thing, or trying to like have a boyfriend at the end of it. It's like I don't think that is needed for a show like this. Maybe in season 2 you can like make that somewhat of a focus, but just because you have like a female lead, it's kind of like with Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel. I'm glad that they didn't throw in some schlocky uh, her finding love kind of stuff. I don't think it's needed for any female lead. Oh, I don't think it's needed for any kind of boy or girl led film. I don't think it's overall needed. You know, unless you're making like a long form thing, like there's three trilogy movie thing, and you seeded a person that you might have like a thing with, and then that let that play out in subsequent like movies. Or when it comes to the TV show, you can seed something or not address it at all in the first season, and then hash it out, or at least show a little bit towards the tail end of the season, and then have it like make it like a formative thing in season 2 and beyond. Kind of like I use this as a good example. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, one of my favorite non-superhero related TV shows that I've seen like a bunch of times. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Total shame that they took it off the. Well, they had to make one final season, which is kind of like, very mid of a quality of a final season. But given after 2020 with the George Floyd thing and uh, police, being like a huge dicks, and like with the whole police reform and all the other stuff, I can imagine the writers behind the show really did not feel comfortable writing like a comedy show with cops and stuff like that, continuously given the state we're in, society wise. But I kind of still they feel should have make it a 9th season instead of 8 seasons. But I digress. But the show had you know uh, Jesse, not Jesse Eisenberg, uh, uh, crap, I played Jake Peralta. Crap, I'm blanking on it. I keep confusing with Andy Samberg. I keep confusing with Jesse Eisenberg. I don't know what the freak is wrong with me. But uh, Andy Samberg's character, Jake Peralta, and his co-worker, Amy Santiago, played by Melissa Fumero, they, start off like, rivals, but just co-workers that, partner up most of the time to, uh, uh, you know, and it's uh kooky, like, slice of life, but slash work related stuff, and it's like a hilarious show. Very uh very good, very high quality writing. You deal with, like, hard hitting issues, that kind of thing, from time to time. But these two uh show they kind of have like a thing for each other, but you know you don't see that, like, at least towards, like, you see it in bits and pieces. But it wasn't until like season two when things are like, okay, driving it home with, like, yeah, they are, like, uncovering, like, feelings, that kind of thing. It's just like, I want that to be like a thing for, not every TV show, because every TV show is different, but it's just like, you know, not every male or female led show or movie needs, per se, like a love interest to focus on. They can just, you have the, budget for more movies or more TV shows for this character to be involved in their own little adventures. You can afford to wait for that. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, uh, then you got the one, after, like, the case with, like, Emil Blonsky, or the situation with, like, Wong and this crappy magician. Uh, she gets ambushed by the Wrecking Crew, and if you uh, know of the Wrecking Crew from Marvel Comics, they're mostly these big burly dudes wielding construction working type of uh, gear that's, enchanted weapons. Like the leader Wrecker wields a enchanted crowbar, and you got, like, another guy with, like, a, well, it's kind of like, I think it was like bulldozer or pulverizer. I think bulldozer, wearing like a hard hat, and uh, uh, there's a guy with a ball and chain. I'm blanking on his name, but the Wrecking Crew is just like, let's say B list, to be generous, B list. Depending on the writers, it can range from C to B list type of bad guys, but they usually fight, like, Spider-Man, Thor, or Hulk, or just the Avengers in general. Sometimes they're hired thugs at the end of the day, but you know, you know, their stuff is enchanted. I think Loki in the comics enchanted them a long, long time ago, and it, it's kind of like Thor's enchanted hammer, and they make them, you know, kind of like a beast of dudes that can tangle with somebody like Thor. But in this, they're just, glorified, no bigger than some average biker dude wielding enchanted, construction gear. And I'm not too thrilled about that, because that's not the fucking Wrecking Crew. I mean, I get you got, like, a budget, but you can make them look bigger or something. Uh, and the stuff that didn't even feel like they did much damage to She-Hulk either. But I don't know. They look like no different than uh, the Vulture's henchmen from Homecoming. They just has some, like, special gear. And it's like, it's kind of lame. It's like they glorified Spider-Man villains at this point, and it's like, yeah, even though the Spider-Man had tangled with the Wrecking Crew every once in a while, but it's like they're not his primarily bad guys. But it's just like, man, that is disappointing to me. Uh, oh, I was bringing up about, like, Jen's coworkers. I don't know if I brought it up properly. They can tie them. You can, you know, they're good, but they seem like they. I don't know. I want to say they pulled the focus away, but it's just like, when they was, finding that Taylor guy, they sitting there, like, that whole sequence with the merch and, you know jumping it down and dancing. It's like, oh God, that's so freaking crazy. Like you're full grown adults. You can be excited, sure, but you dancing like 12-year-old kids, and it's like, ugh, God, it's like tone it down a bit with these guys because like they're not like uh MJ or Ned, so far as like you know being entertaining. And I use that as the barometer because I don't know, they're appealing but not that appealing. They're very mid, even though they're great actors. Like I do when they're when it's significant, they're fantastic. But it's just like I feel like they kind of being shoved in the face like us. Uh, bring us back for the next season so like people can have merch with our faces on or something. It's like uh, what else? There's like overarching bad guy. Somebody hired the Wrecker and his crew to steal Jen's blood. It didn't work at first because her skin is impenetrable. Duh. Uh, so people suspected, oh, the leader might be involved because they did announce somewhere around this episode with the Wrecking Crew showing up. Somewhere around that point, it was like announced that the guy who played uh, Stearns, who is the leader in the comics, the actor who played him in the Incredible Hulk movie, is supposed to be coming back for that role. And I was like, oh, that'd be a nice surprise. Just bringing back legacy Hulk characters, so that way they can get another bite of the apple. Because the voice for Spider-Man's suit, Karen, is Liv Tyler, who was Betty Ross in the Incredible Hulk movie, and I wanted to come back because you kind of sidelined her throughout the 10 years of the MCU and replaced Hulk's love interest with Black Widow, which doesn't make any goddamn sense because, you know, like y'all completely forgot about Betty. You couldn't make a Hulk-centered movie. You brought back uh, William Hurt, the late William Hurt, for the role as Thunderbolt Ross. So clearly, you can bring Liv Tyler back, and it'd be great to have them address I hear you had like a new girlfriend, kind of thing. It's like, okay, what happened to that? Because y'all didn't end it on bad terms in that movie, so it doesn't feel like the need for y'all to just forget about Betty Ross. Whatever. Anyway, uh, you get to see Scar, Hulk's son. That's why you see like Hulk travel off into space, dealing with why that spaceship attacked in the first place. Because I guess bringing his attention that got like a kid out there on planet Sakaar, and it's like, who did Hulk? I mean, in the comics, there was some tall alien person. I don't recall her name, but while during Planet Hulk comic book run, Hulk and this woman had like a thing, and while Hulk was doing uh, World War Hulk, after Planet Hulk was done, uh, I guess she had like a kid, which later showed up down the lines. Scar. In recent, I don't say recent. It's been like a while since anybody addressed Scar at all. Uh, uh, Matter of fact, like what's the deal with like Scar? Like when's the last time he showed up in anything? Because I am too doggone curious. Because right now I just want to know. Uh, 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 Well, yeah, I mean, it's like some kind of situation with Project Green Spring with Abomination. I'm not sure. And prior to that, when last he had like a significant uh, minute in the spotlight was during the Dark Avengers thing with Norman Osborn leading like the Dark Avengers. So it's like, yeah, it's been a while since anybody used uh, Scar in anything. What was his mother's name? You don't want to get that uh, found out. Uh, Kyera the Old Strong. Yeah, so that's her name. But anyway, I saw it going on a tangent, but I just really want to know, like, when's the last time Scar was used? It's been a while. It's like, I know there's a lot of characters in the Marvel Universe, but it's like there are certain things that uh, that you want to like at least because you keep rehashing stuff that we already seen, like like almost every kind of run you can think of. But it's nice to go back to the old well, like what happened to Scar? Let me do a Scar run a bit instead of having to, because I mentioned this many times, like need these writers or even people above them who need to like address that. Stop rehashing the same characters we already seen. We already did like a Hulk adventure with the Mortal Hulk. We already did like a thing with Batman and like the DC Metal, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, let's focus on characters that that's Guardians of the Galaxy. This shit. Okay, let's make a Plastic Man kind of run. Give us a good Plastic Man story. Do some research, find out like a potential bad guy he used to tangle with, update him, or make a new entirely new character for a Rose Gallery for Plastic Man or Scar. Let's give him a particular bad guy that's meant for him and not having anything to do with his father. Just you shouldn't be driven to this because it's a TV show or a movie coming out, just like with Black Adam. First and foremost, just because The Rock playing him doesn't mean he needs to be like it ain't gonna ruin The Rock's image. And in the comics, he stays as a freaking anti-hero dictator because he's supposed to be like the Doctor Doom of the Marvel of the DC universe. So you bring him on the Justice League, it's make no goddamn sense because he wouldn't be on the Justice League. He wouldn't give a crap. He only cares about his own on Kondak. Uh, uh, but anyway, uh, we get to see Scar with a man bun on his head, which is weird. Don't know who's playing him. Don't recognize the face. But the overall bad guy is this because it's kind of like a play on internet, real life internet trolls that I'm not sure how synonymous it is with, maybe during the point where they was coming up with an idea for a She-Hulk show, and after they probably announced there's going to be a She-Hulk show, here comes all like the internet trolls hating and like misogynistic jackasses, and they use that as like a like a cool idea as like a overall bad guy for She-Hulk, which kind of still think like because one of the She-Hulk's little hookups on a dating app thing was this punk uh douchebag. I forgot his dog name. I think it's Tom or something. I don't know. And he turns out to be like the leader of this little secret black sided group that hates She-Hulk, and then ultimately and this is like another plot hole, I think, where they used this guy named Josh, who who was implanted because Jennifer meets up with this dude at one of her high school friends' weddings, which is not that I didn't enjoy because it was a nice little cool fight and hilarious moment with like a Titania. A lot of people getting like you hiring like a woman to play She-Hulk named Tatiana, and you got like a bad guy named Titania. You can see how confusing that is to the tongue. But Titania, whose actress is British, but makes a great, very great fluent American accent, unlike most other, British uh, uh, actors or people from in general the UK. For the most part, I want to say they do good, but it's just like sounds very cowboyish, or you know, I'm not sure. Like I gotta get somebody from like the UK or some other country of origin and have them describe what it's like doing an American accent in ways, because it can't be just cowboyish Southern crap. Uh, but anyway, uh, he turns out to be like a leader of this little friends group. They uh, put this Josh guy in. He hooks up with her, after a couple of dates. Steals her blood while she is sleeping. Which, by the way, how you not feel like some kind of needle prick? Even when you're awake, you still feel like you go to the doctors for a vaccine shot. You still feel that prick in your skin, and I doubt something like that won't wake you up right away. And then at the same time, while cloning her phone, he somehow set up some kind of hidden camera so he can make a sex tape, which got out during the end of the episode after we see Daredevil and whatnot. And she loses her cool, which is understandable. And now she gets, put away for a couple of days because of, people freaking out. And then you got, I'm not sure if these authorities are specifically damage control or not, because as you've seen from Miss Marvel, damage control, they changed it up from being just like a cleanup crew after a superhero fight to a specific organized police enforcement group, uh, tailor made for like super enhanced people. But they show up, lock her up, and then put like an ankle monitor on her to monitor her transformations. But then once they figure out to when her friends figured out a way to spy on this secret organization, which is filled with just like a bunch of uh, nerdy, weak, weenie dudes who got who's pretty much I imagine just like real life trolls, all just bitching about like oh, what we need a She-Hulk. What can it just be Guy Hulk? And it's like those idiots. Uh, so that's how they figured out who the leader was, or leader. But then they also come to find out that Abomination, went there for like a speaking engagement. But at first you thought like, oh, he's a part of this, but no, he was just hired, and I'm not sure how he doesn't know what's detailed in this kind of organized speaking engagement, because he just seemed like he just speaking in platitudes like you could believe in yourself, blah blah blah. Then because Jennifer goes to back to Emil's retreat, hoping to clear her head through all this nonsense, and this is where they're holding their little secret function. She burst in, and then the guy who took her blood injects himself with it and makes himself like a like let's go bro, and is green, monstrosity. And then all of a sudden Titania burst in, just likes the Kool-Aid man herself through a lot of walls, which Jen points out. Does she even believe in doors? I think it was Jennifer who said it, or it was either her or her best friend who said it. Uh, then Hope burst in, like thinking like Emil's, about to hurt his cousin. Like, let go of my cousin, asshole. And then everything just stops because Jennifer just like, okay, what the hell's going on? What's all this mess? Then the best fourth wall break in the entire show. She, you seem like it make you seem like it's rolling the Disney Plus kind of not credits, but like the like panels of different selections of film, and she breaks through her little box and hops into another box and goes through the Marvel lots and goes to the writer's room and asks like, what the hell's going on? Like, what's all this mess? And then they said, this is what like Kevin wanted. And it's like, well, I want to see Kevin. Like, nobody see Kevin. So obviously referencing Kevin Feige. So she marches her way to the office in like a cool hallway fight scene where a group of like, security, which you should have known it will have no shot against like any Hulk. You can probably barely hold your own against somebody like Daredevil, let alone She-Hulk. She would just back the hell away or call in some backup, with some better equipment to like at least try to fight back. But she marches down there and meets up with Kevin, but what you're expecting Kevin Feige to make some kind of cameo appearance, it just turns out to be some kind of Wizard of Oz man behind the curtain thing. It's just like a big AI algorithm ball with like a, kind of like a makeshift cat with Kevin abbreviated. That means, something else detailed. But she points out, and it kind of poked fun, and a lot of people was talking about like the Marvel formula, and trying to make things different and blah blah blah. But I think a lot of people will agree, just because you pointed out this kind of trope doesn't make it better if you don't do nothing with that acknowledgement. And it kind of feels like you just mess with, in general, everybody who either enjoys or hates this stuff. You pretty much doing like a Ralph Boner situation again, but for everybody. And I already hate that whole Ralph Boner joke in the first Dongo Place. I still sticks in my craw to this day. So she completely nixed the entire big old fight and everything like this. We're gonna handle it the Jennifer Walters way, like a lawyer, and has this out, like take away the whole blood thing. Even though that kind of erases, because yeah, the leader of this intelligentsia gets hauled away to prison. There's no hulking out for him, and but what happens to the Josh thing? Where's his comeuppance? Because you completely forgot about this guy. You only seen him in like 2 episodes, but then he's disappeared after his job was done. But it's like it'd be great at the very least see him there amongst all these other people getting arrested, and like Jen seeing this guy getting hauled away after after he used her. But that seems like like that's probably the biggest wasted kind of plot. Um, so yeah, I'm glad she handled it differently from what we would typically see from a Marvel show or movie. Uh, but I was like, I don't know. I think we should just stuck with supposed to be a galore comedy show. I think that the bulk of the time we should spend was in the courtroom or her dealing with legal issues with different clients and stuff like that. That should be like the the primary focus, and it seems like it was a little uneven. Some of the jokes did not land. Uh, Either if they hit, they hit. When they don't, you really notice. Uh, it's kind of like telling an awful pun, and that's how it feels. You get that like moment. But if I can rate this at all, I would rate this maybe put like a solid B. You know, either a solid B or B plus, because like I wanted to give it an A, but it's just like in the pit of my stomach, I do not think you deserve an A. You know, given like how uneven it feels in certain episodes, because there's parts in even the episodes that I did not care for all that much. There was parts in it that I love, but like the pilot, I thoroughly enjoyed through and through. The last two episodes, I thoroughly enjoyed through and through. The episode with Wong and that suing that other magician, I loved through and through. Everything else, it's like parts of it I did not care for, but the rest I did enjoy. But that's why I want to calculating all that up in my brain, I feel more comfortable giving with it a B. And that's how I probably would apply it to my ranking system. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought of She-Hulk Attorney at Law Season 1. And as Jen pointed out, probably next time you see it will be in a movie. So I think we'll probably be in like the Avengers films coming up in the next phase. And then after the Kang Dynasty thing, after that phase is done, we'll probably rehash season 2 by that point, or start shooting for a season 2 after that point. But anyway, I will see you guys in a little bit while I go over a new TV show. Well, not a new TV show, but the season 2 of Danny Phantom. Give you my overall thoughts on season 2. You can check out season 1 spoiler review up on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkativecarl. And then I got another movie for the Halloween theme for the month for a review for that. So look forward to that a little bit later tonight. So I will see you guys soon. Peace.